There are a lot of battle royale games out there right now, but I bet you've not seen one quite like this. Welcome to World of Tanks Steel Hunter, a new limited time battle royale mode in World of Tanks. Yes, that World of Tanks. It's live now and it's running up until September 16th, and it's actually quite a bit of fun. First up, a big thanks to Wargaming for sponsoring this video. World of Tanks is a free-to-play title with 11 nations of tanks, 30 plus maps inspired by real-world locations and multiple game modes. There's a link down in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. And if you're a first-time sign-up on the Wargaming portal, you can use the code BR2019, which contains 7 premium days and the T127 Soviet Tier 3 tank. Very cheeky. Now then, Steel Hunter. You can play it either as a solo player with 20 players or in a platoon, which gives 7 teams and 21 players max, so that's 3 per team. As with any BR mode, I prefer to play with friends, but solos are always quite tense, especially for someone who is far from a World of Tanks professional like me, as you may be able to tell. I do pick the game up every now and again, and that usually ends quite badly for me, but I still enjoy the experience. When you're playing Steel Hunter, you can choose from 3 different tanks with the idea that each one offers something different depending on your playstyle. You've got access to the Rattlesnake, the Red Dawn, or the Flammenschwert, one from the USA, one from Germany, and one from the USSR. You can't mount any additional equipment on the tanks, but you can upgrade the tanks in battle. Each of the tanks can be upgraded from tier 1 right up to tier 8 during the battle, and the idea is that to research or upgrade your tank, you need to earn battle XP by either damaging or destroying enemy tanks, or looting treasures. Each of the tanks has a unique upgrade tree with every level, offering 2 modules to choose from. I mentioned that you can earn battle XP by looting treasures on the battlefield, so how does that work exactly? Well, around the map there are treasures and special stationary loot points. When you reach these areas, you can loot them to potentially gain battle XP, shells and consumables. In total there are 4 types of loot that you can find. Yellow is ammunition, which contains shells, some battle XP, and it also restores hit points, which is very useful. Then green contains consumables and once again battle XP. Red loot is called Spoils of War, and this is loot that you can get from destroyed vehicles. If there is a Spoil of War that still contains loot, look out for the red smoke that will highlight it. And then finally, you've got blue loot, which are airdrops. In true BR fashion, there are airdrops in the game that will drop onto the map, and these contain more valuable consumables and a greater amount of battle XP, as you would expect. The problem, of course, is that all players can see these drops on their map, and they're all going to want a piece of the pie. Going in for one could result in death, but if you get it, it means you'll be able to upgrade your tank further, becoming stronger in the long run. If you manage to destroy an enemy tank, then of course there's going to be some loot left behind for you to grab there too, and this includes any consumables that were left when the tank died, all shells and a lot of battle XP. And speaking of consumables, you can use these during the battle to either be aggressive or defensive. For instance, there's a turbocharger consumable that will give you increased speed, so you could use that to either close the gap to be aggressive or perhaps get out of trouble if you're outnumbered. Then there are also consumables like recovery, which will give you more health. And then there's a repair kit that repairs damaged modules, which are like large repair kits in random battles. Target tracking is also available, and that increases aiming speed and gun stabilization, so you can see that there's an interesting amount of customization and upgrade paths here. As well as consumables, there are also global abilities that you can activate. These are Recovery Zone, Airstrike, and Trap and Smokescreen. Smokescreen, well, that's self-explanatory. It creates a large smoke area that can help hide you from enemy tanks. Trap creates a temporary zone in which enemy tanks are slowed if they're caught inside. And Airstrike lets you attack enemy tanks with bombs, which is quite mad. And then the Recovery Zone creates a temporary zone in which you and your teammates can recover HP. This is of course especially useful if you're playing in a platoon. You can also potentially combine abilities if you're smart enough and quick enough. Using a trap and then an airstrike could be really deadly when used effectively. There's a visibility system in Steel Hunter that's brand new to World of Tanks, and it's based on the principle of vision cone. Enemy vehicles will become visible when they appear in your visibility sector that's shown on the minimap. If an enemy vehicle is in your sight, their marker and HP will be shown, and when aiming at them, the contour of the model will also be displayed. If, however, an enemy is within 50 meters of you, it will automatically become visible as it would in a standard game of World of Tanks. So improving your visibility sector is also a part of the upgrade modules, of course, depending on which path you choose. By default, all players also have the 6th Sense perk. And speaking of mechanics, you come equipped with a radio scanner too. This allows you to scan the surrounding area, not only to show off the supply points, but also to locate enemy tanks. The downside though is that you're shown on the map when you use it. It's a trade-off. Early game though, it's useful to use just to be able to detect resources and level up your tank. All of this action takes place in an area called Dreamland, and as with any Battle Royale mode, there has to be a zone or a pressure, some sort of danger that pushes the action together. Steel Hunter is no exception. Over time, the playable area of the map will shrink, forcing players and their tanks to move. The area that you don't want to be in is called the danger zone, and if you're stuck there, then you're going to be doing some serious damage to your tank. There are a few stages though to warn you of this happening, and if the area that you're in turns orange on the minimap, that indicates that you're going into a red area very soon and you need to move. If it turns red and you're still there, then your tank will be continuously damaged until you either leave or, unfortunately, is destroyed. There is even a progression system here which totals 25 ranks. If you manage to reach the top rank, then you will receive some special rewards, including a unique badge, bonds and credits. Also, depending on your effectiveness in battle, you can both lose and gain chevrons, so be careful. Overall, Steel Hunter, I've had a blast with it so far, and remember, it is a limited time mode. I am of course not a die-hard World of Tanks player, and there are a lot of nuances in the game that I need to learn, armor penetration being one of them. It takes some time really to learn where you should be hitting enemy tanks to deal the most damage, or penetration, not to mention leading enemies and shooting while moving. It all takes a bit of practice. Having a one tank standing mode gives a great sense of satisfaction though to the player left standing at the end. But there are definitely some tactics to it as well. Deciding whether you're going to take battles early on or try to just get as many resources as you can to level up your tank is an interesting trade-off. Of course, sometimes that decision is going to be made for you if you run into another tank by surprise. If you just avoid any action and don't manage to get any supplies, then you're going to definitely struggle mid and late game if you come across a level 4 or 5 tier tank. I don't know how well the regular World of Tanks players will receive this mode, but from someone who doesn't play it all the time, I enjoyed it, but it's not for the faint of heart. I found myself losing quite a lot of battles, mainly due to a lack of experience. It's tough, but I like that I enjoyed the challenge. Steel Hunter is a limited time mode running right now, remember, up until September 16th, and it's free if you fancy some last tank standing. So if you're interested, why not give it a download? And once again, a big thanks to Wargaming for sponsoring this video, and there's a link in the description below for you to click on if you're interested. With that said, that's all for today, guys. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd like to know if there's anyone that plays World of Tanks all the time. How do you feel about this game mode, and are you absolutely dominating in it? Probably. If you enjoyed the video though, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.